Alright guys, back with another video, and this time I thought I'd show you part of my Neo Geo Home Cart collection and talk a little bit about some of these games. So starting on the right hand side, we've got Joy Kid. It's a little puzzle game similar to Tetris, except you have an objective to complete. You want to free a little trapped air balloon, and you pick either a male or a female character. There's different levels for each of them. You go through and just you try and free that balloon, and it's a pretty difficult game actually. The levels they get hard on you pretty quick. So if you like puzzle games, I definitely say to check that one out because it's cool. The graphics department, it's you know, one of the earlier games, and it's relatively low meg count. So I mean, it's not that great in the graphics department, but the gameplay still, it's solid. Fun puzzle game. And then next to that, we've got Neo Geo Cup 98. That was in the Super Sidekick series. It was actually the last one to come out. It is very similar to Super Sidekicks 3. There is some different teams, some different cutscenes and stuff, but I mean the gameplay, it's pretty much the same thing. So there's that, and next to that is Super Sidekicks 2. And then we've got Samurai Showdown 2. Everybody knows that one. It's just an awesome series, awesome game. Just can't really say anything else about that one. It's very well known. So next to that, Art of Fighting 2. Definitely a cool game, very difficult game, but I like the big character sprites and everything. Some of the backgrounds in that one are pretty cool. It's got Robert Garcia. So yeah. I've got a little clump of King of Fighters games there, starting with 94, 2000, 98, 97, and 96. And 97 is probably my personal favorite. That's the one I really started out playing. That's what got me into King of Fighters. I had the Saturn port of it back in the day, and I loved that, played a lot of it. And then when I got my home cart system, that was one of the first games I picked up. So that one's probably still my favorite to this day. 98 has a huge cast of characters, a lot of nice backgrounds, great music, which is something that King of Fighters 97 was lacking in. It had some music, but then just some just background noise kind of tracks, just some kind of obscure random stuff. But 98 had some better stuff in there, and then 2000 was actually the last one that SNK made, and huge cast of characters, and that one had strikers in it, and they brought out a lot of characters that were in the other games, one of them being a G-Mantle, which was the mascot for SNK, or the Neo Geo system in Japan, or who they tried to make the mascot for the first few years of the system. And he made cameo appearances in some of the older games, and then he just kind of got phased out. But I thought it was pretty cool they brought him into KOF 2000 as a striker. So next to 96 over there, we have got Sonic Wings 3, or Aero Fighters 3. Awesome game by Video System. It's a vertical shooter, and it's super cool. Lot of planes to choose from. Great level design, bosses. And it has an awesome soundtrack. It's drum and bass, like techno type music, electronic. It's just really fast paced, suits the game really well, by Hoso Q, who did the soundtracks for, I'm pretty sure, all of the Sonic Wings series. And that particular game, though, number 3, has my favorite soundtrack. So yeah, definitely a game to check out if you're into shooters. One of the better games on the Neo for shooters. And next to that, Fatal Fury Real Bout, and then Fatal Fury 3. Moving down shelf here, I've got some of my older games. Got Sengoku, Blues Journey, and Blues Journey is awesome even to this day. That is one of the earlier games to come out. It's a platform game, and it's awesome. Great music, very colorful. There's like, you go to item shops, you can buy stuff. There's a little fairy in there with butterfly wings. She talks. For the time, it was awesome. And I still like playing it. It's fairly challenging. There's a bunch of different levels. You can take multiple paths, which was cool. It helps the replay value out. So yeah, I like that a lot. Moving on, NAM 1975. Cool run and gun kind of game. There isn't too many around that are that style. I like it though. It's a challenging game. And then they got the original Super Sidekicks, which had a slightly different graphic style than the rest of the series. It was a little more primitive, just like straight up sprite graphics, 3/4 view type of thing. And then with the newer ones, they went more into like scaling, and they were much more realistic, high detail. This one's a little more old and cartoony, and I like them both. They're cool. And next to that, got World Heroes, kind of a goofy fighting game by ADK. This is still a cool series though. I like the death matches in that one. And then Magician Lord, definitely one of my favorite games, one of the first Neo games to come out. I put up a gameplay video of that one a little while ago. Yeah, it's a stunning game. Awesome graphics, awesome music. It's a challenging game, but it's also very rewarding once you get good at it. Yeah, it's a blast to play. So I highly recommend that one for platform fans. And Cyberlip, it's kind of a side-scrolling run and gun. It was again one of the earlier games to come out. It had some great little cinemas with spoken dialogue and stuff in it. I thought that was pretty cool. It's got some bosses in it, some pretty big sprites and stuff. I liked that one. It was pretty hard, but it was cool. Then we got Baseball Stars Professional, the Super Spy, Riding Hero, Alpha Mission 2, Baseball Stars 2. That one I cannot say enough good things about. Probably the coolest baseball game ever. To think that it came out in 1992 and it just had such colorful graphics, huge character sprites, just rockin' music. Just the gameplay was awesome. If you have a couple buddies to sit down and play that with, you guys will have a blast. And next to that, Super Baseball 2020. Also, nice graphics on that one. It's like a future baseball game. Further into the game you get, the more innings and whatnot that you play. They add landmines out in the field, so robots will be running around trying to catch the ball and they'll step on and get blown up. I mean, so it's kind of far out, but it's a cool game. Like that one. And bump it down to the bottom shelf. So on the right hand side there, Savage Rain. Definitely a good fighting game if you're into fighters. It was, I believe that one was released in '95, so it was right around, the prime time for all the fighting games coming out. And it was a little bit of a different concept. You could kind of, similar to, I guess, Fatal Fury, you could kind of jump from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen, depending on the background, slightly different. But yeah, that kind of added to the gameplay, and most of the characters had weapons or something that they could throw from one plane to the other to kind of knock the character back, and I liked that. Had some interesting characters in it. And next to that, we've got Art of Fighting. Can't say too much about that one. I'm sure you guys already know about it. I mean, it's classic, had giant character sprites, scaling. It was one of the first games to use some of those effects, and it is a great game. Very difficult, but very cool. Then Samurai Showdown. Everybody knows about that one. Classic game. Next to that, Fatal Fury Special. That was a cool game. It was pretty much set up to compete with Super Street Fighter 2. Came out right about the same time in 1993. And was, yeah, an awesome game. It had, for the time, a relatively large cast of characters and some great gameplay, great backgrounds. I still play that one to this day. Very fun. Next to that, World Heroes 2 Jet. Then we've got Fighter's History, Karnov's Revenge. That one is a Data East fighter. It's pretty much a Street Fighter 2 knockoff. I think there was actually a lawsuit back in the day. Capcom sued them for it being too similar to Street Fighter 2. But yeah, I mean, it's a decent game. Karnov's in there. He's in a ton of Data East games. He makes an appearance, and it's pretty cool that you can play him as a fighter in that game. So that's pretty neat. Metal Slug 3, definitely one of the coolest home carts I own. I mean, Metal Slug is just one of my favorite game series ever, and the third part of it is totally epic. I mean, it's a huge game, tons of multiple paths, tons of different slugs and weapons to collect. So really cool game. I'm glad I have the home cart of that one. King of Fighters 95, next to that. We've got Legend of Success Joe. That's arguably the worst game on the Neo Geo. It is a boxing / beat 'em up game based on an anime, and the controls are just totally whacked out. If you've ever played the game, you know what I'm talking about, and if you haven't, you should check it out just so you can see. It's pretty much just goofy fun. I like it enough, I'll play it every once in a while, but it's definitely not an outstanding game. Something to check out though. And next to that, King of Fighters 99, The Last Blade. Next to that is definitely a great fighting series from SNK. Again, glad to have that home cart. It's a blast to play. And next to that, in the corner there, is a Euro copy of Aero Fighters 2. So that's another great shooter. Don't like it quite as much as the third part, but it's still definitely cool. I like how they mix up the levels depending on how many times through you play it. Every time you play it, there's going to be, the levels will be in slightly different orders. Some of the levels are always in the same order, but that does help the replay that it mixes it up like that. So there was just a little look at part of my Neo Geo Home Cart collection, and just a few comments on some of the games. So hope you guys enjoyed, and again, thanks for watching.